Fair, the Ford shop foreman for Hildebrand Motors, and I'm Tim Bowen. And we're going to be talking today about check engine lights. And Richard, there are different names for check engine lights. Maybe you can elaborate on that.
Okay. Yeah, there are lots of different terminologies. Some people call it the check engine light. Some call it a service engine soon light. Some people call it a malfunction indicator light. The technician may address it as one thing, and the partsman may address it as something else.
Right.
It's quite confusing, but they all basically mean the same thing. And to clarify it, in the newer vehicles, it's basically just this sign with the engine on it, and
right.
There's not usually any wording with it, so it kind of makes you aware that it's one of those types of problems.
Right, and if the technology works really well, you'll see that picture behind us.
Exactly, yeah. Most people don't mistake the engine for anything else, and I think that's why they went with that symbol. So.
Right, well, that just makes sense.
Yeah.
So why would the check engine light come on?
Usually there's an issue with something to do with one of these sensors, a wiring issue, or one of the modules that affect the way the vehicle or the vehicle emission systems work. And basically the check engine light was introduced to clarify to the technicians a lot of the emission systems, what they do, what the problems are with them. And so in some cases also you do see where it's an actual engine mechanical problem,
right,
and we'll turn the light on. So that's not something to be ignored.
Right. So some messages require immediate action and others don't. So how do you, is it better to bring it in right away? Is it better to wait for a while? What's the rule of thumb?
The rule of thumb usually is to get it in as soon as you can. If you don't notice any major drivability issues, chugging or misfiring, or it doesn't seem to react the same, usually you're okay to wait a day or two, or at least until you can get an appointment to get the vehicle in. If the light starts to flash, that's starting to be an urgent situation, in that it can be harmful to your catalytic converter and that type of thing. So it may cause issues down the road.
So on the older vehicles, would it be like service engine light soon, be the one that comes on instead of it flashing, or are they both the same? Or
no, they are basically the same. Even on the older ones, they are meant to flash when it's something that's harmful to the exhaust system or to the engine itself.
So if you notice soon, check engine soon, or the engine icon flashing, you want to get it into a dealer right away.
Exactly.
Is that correct?
And have someone look at it. Yeah.
Okay. So what about resetting? If somebody comes in and asks to get their light reset, or can they even do it themselves? If they look in the owner's manual, will it tell them there to do it, and should they even do it?
For the most part, I would say that you shouldn't reset it, as sometimes it will hide some of the information that the technicians need to actually diagnose your problem properly. There are very few vehicles that actually allow you to reset your own check engine light. A lot of people misinterpret the service vehicle light, which usually has a wrench on it, or service or change oil light. They misinterpret that as being check engine light, and they can reset those. But in this case of a check engine light, more often than not, you can't, unless you have a buddy or a scan reader that will allow you to do that.
Right, like a quarter mechanic or something like
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah. But the best thing to do really is just to bring it into the dealer and make sure it's handled correctly, so that down the road you're not experiencing some bad problems. Would that be correct?
Yes, yeah, absolutely.
So how does when the check engine light comes on and stuff, does that affect the performance of the vehicle at all?
In most cases it will. The computers now are smart enough where when a certain code sets, it defaults to a certain setting, so that it doesn't harm your engine. Depending on what the problem is, of course, it kind of doesn't allow you to damage it any further. Let's put it that way. And It may affect, well, in most cases, it does affect your fuel economy. You may notice, like I was saying earlier, misfire, chugging, it seems like maybe a filter's plugged or something like that, hard starting, that type of thing can
Right.
occur, yeah.
So when the service engine soon light comes on, service engine soon, does that mean that it's going to, there's major problems with the vehicle or not?
In some cases, like I say, if you have misfire, then there's obviously something that, it could be something simple like wire or a plug or something like that, but it can also be a mechanical issue with your engine. So if you don't notice the drivability issue so much, it probably doesn't indicate a major problem.
Right.
And it may be, something that we can repair in a half hour to an hour or something like that.
Okay. And who should, I think we've talked about this already, but let's just clarify, who should actually reset the check engine light service light?
Yeah, well, I mean, that's one of those things where unless you have a friend that really is very knowledgeable about what is actually happening with your vehicle, it would be advisable to have qualified General Motors person do the reset. And sometimes, it's as simple as pulling in, and if your gas cap was loose, we can indicate that to you. Generally, for something like that, there's not a charge to reset the light. If you already know that your gas cap was left loose, we understand that, and we also understand that things like that happen when you get when you're fueling up or have someone else fuel up your vehicle.
Right.
So that's a pretty simple example of why a light will come on. I mean, obviously there are more other ones than that too.
Right. And all the sensors, read different things on the engine and stuff like that too,
Exactly.
so you never know what it is.
And that's a good point. There are so many sensors that it can be any one of those, and a variety of different situations with the wiring and the modules also. So,
Right.
yeah.
So the best rule of thumb really, if the check engine light comes on or service engine light comes on, best thing, don't panic. Bring it into your dealer, let them take a look at it. Like Richard said, if it's just the gas cap, then they'll just reset it for you and you'll be on your way. And, I know there's a belief system out there where dealers are out there to gouge you, where we're not. We're really here just to service you and to help you. And so if it's something like that, like you said, there's no charge for it.
Exactly.
And there's peace of mind.
Exactly.
So.
And that's what we're here for. We want to have people that are ordering happy.
Right, exactly. So that concludes our HMTV Tech Talk today, and thanks Richard for all those great answers, and hopefully that helped you as well, and we look forward to talking to you again next time. So have a good day.